Hi guys, today we're going to look at supply as part of the price mechanism. Last time we looked at demand. This time we're going to look at supply. So here we go with the definition for supply. Supply refers to the quantities of a product that suppliers are willing and able to sell at various prices per period of time, other things remaining the same. So here you can see again we find the concept of other things remaining the same, ceteris paribus, as we looked at it in demand as well. So when we are looking at supply, we are saying that suppliers are looking at how much they can supply at the various prices, but they also have to be able. So again, it actually has to be effective supply and not just notional that, oh, I might be able to supply you with the goods and services. And at the end of the day, those suppliers can't do it. So it actually needs to be backed by them being able financially to provide these services or these products. Let's look at ceteris paribus in terms of supply. Again, we have two variables. So the two variables in terms of supply would be price and quantity supplied. Other things remaining constant. So it basically is showing how supply will change in relation to the price changing. Let's look at the supply curve. The supply curve is upward sloping, whereas the demand curve is downward sloping. It really is just the relationship between price and quantity that depicts whether it should be upward or downward sloping. So when we are dealing with supply, the relationship between price and quantity supplied is a positive or a direct relationship. In other words, it means if the price increases, the quantity supplied will increase as well. If the price decreases, the quantity supplied will decrease as well. We can actually look at it in terms of extensions and contractions, again in terms of the movement along the supply curve. So this is a movement along the supply curve. So I can say this could be point A and this could be point B. And if I'm saying I'm moving from A to point B, I can see that the price is increasing and the quantity supplied is increasing as well. Positive relationship. Then I can also look at a movement from B to A, which is the opposite, and we can say that the price is decreasing and the quantity supplied will be decreasing as well. Suppliers want to be able to supply at a higher price. So here's just a slide just going to a little bit more detail about contractions of supply and extensions. So this only pertains to a movement along the supply curve, not shifts in the supply curve, which we will look at later. So that when I'm dealing with a contraction of supply, as I've mentioned, as the price decreases, the suppliers would be willing to supply less because they want to supply at a higher price. Extensions of supply, as the price increases, the supply will increase alongside of it because suppliers want to supply more at a higher price. As we have looked at demand and we looked at the market demand schedule, we also have that for supply. We call it the market supply schedule. And what this table or information is basically telling us is the quantity supplied at the various prices. So as I have told you, the relationship between price and quantity supplied is a positive one or a direct one. So we can see here, if you have a look at the schedule, the prices go from 800 to 2000. And then in line with that, or in relation to that, I can see at a lower price, the quantity supplied is a lot lower than at a price of 2000, where the quantity supplied is 7,000, which is a lot higher than 1,000 over here. And then we're going to use this information from a market supply schedule then to draw up our supply curve. Now I'm going to look at the curve in relation to that market supply schedule I just showed you. So it's just an example. So I didn't go and plot every single price and quantity supplied point. I just chose two. I chose 800 and I chose 1,200. And you can see the movement along the supply curve yet again. So I can actually go from this point to here, or from that point to there, or I can actually put my other information from that market supply schedule in here as well. And that is basically how I will draw up the supply curve. But for exam purposes, when you're getting to a higher level of economics, they just want you to be able to interpret supply curves or graphs. And they want you to be able to read information from the various graphs as well, and to draw up your own. You can either use numbers, or you could use little things like to say this is going to be P1, this is going to be P2, this is going to be Q2, and this is going to be Q1. So it's just in line with the quantities and the price. So that's normally how you would do or draw up a supply curve. They want to see, you can make up fictitious amounts, like I said, but you have to be able to interpret the information from a graph that they gave you. So I have done a video on price elasticity of demand. So I actually just want to mention price elasticity of supply. And I just want to mention it with supply because they link in very closely. And I will look at it separately in another video, but I just quickly want you to look at price elasticity of supply. So price elasticity of supply basically has to do with how sensitive is quantity supplied to a change in the price. As with PED, price elasticity of demand, it is how sensitive quantity demanded is to a change in the price. Here, I am just dealing with the supply side of things. So again, there's a definition for price elasticity of supply. It's a numerical measure of the responsiveness of supply to a change in the price of the product alone, or as I just simply put, it is how sensitive or responsive quantity supplied is to a change in the price. Now I just want to look at the formula for PES. So if I simplify it mathematically, I can write it as follows: percentage change in quantity supplied divided by the percentage change in the price. And that change is delta, that little triangle. So if I look at PES in relation to supply, I actually want to look at that positive relationship between price and quantity supplied. So here again, I am looking at PES as price is affecting, the change in price is affecting the change in the quantity supplied. So now if I look at, say, I want the price to increase, okay? So price is increasing, leading to an increase in the quantity supplied, because suppliers want to supply more at a higher price. So a plus divided by a plus gives me a plus. And now I can also say, if, say, the price decreased, it's going to decrease the quantity supplied, because suppliers don't want to supply at a lower price. So a minus divided by a minus also gives me a plus, hence the positive relationship between price and quantity supplied. Now for PED, we saw that the relationship is negative, so it had a negative sign in front of it. Great, so we looked at supply, and I hope you found this video helpful and that you understand supply a little bit better. Next time we're going to look at supply curve shifts and the factors that cause these shifts. Today we just looked at the movement along the supply curve and what supply actually is. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it, and then I will see you guys soon. Thank you. Bye.